How's everyone doing today? I'm Tom Connor, and this is our 29 for 29 Miss Dean's final project, and we are doing it on rec basketball. It's one of the most legendary things in this town. If you're a hooper, if you're not a hooper, and today I'm here with one that wasn't a hooper, but he got into it and he had some great experiences. So Garrett, first off, I'd like to start off by asking you, what was it like joining rec basketball, even though you weren't a basketball player full time?
I'm gonna be honest. Showed up first day, didn't have basketball shoes. I was going like Nike free runs, like ankle high, no support. And I'm looking at some of these kids, and they got like the LeBrons and like the Durants and all that stuff, and I'm like, oh wow, like
It's intimidating.
it was a little intimidating, but you just gotta get thrown in there, dude. You know what I mean? And you learn from the best. The best way of you learning is just getting in there. You know what I mean? If you're gonna stay on the court, you gotta play with the best. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Or else you're just not gonna be there. So.
All right. So another question I have here for you today is, what do you think about the legend of KAZLOUSKY? I mean, this guy has been running ship down there for a while, and he's the guy, really.
Yeah, Al's a legend. I can't say enough about Al. He really motivated me to keep going and that, and he just gets the troops rallied. You know what I mean? He's always got the Dunkin' Donuts coffee in his hand.
Yeah.
He's always showing up every Saturday morning when he doesn't have to support the boys. I can't say enough about Al. I'm gonna get emotional if I start talking to him more. He's done a lot for me in my life, motivating me with my sports career. So yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that.
All right, yeah, no, obviously, that's great. Do you feel, even though you weren't a basketball guy, I mean, you were football, lacrosse,
yeah.
But do you feel that the community of rec basketball was welcoming to you when you first showed up there and you wanted to go ball out, with all the guys? So no matter who it was the Jack Warriors or the Rocco Froyos,
Yeah, it was really a community out there. It didn't really matter how good or bad you were. You just got out there and have fun. You broke a sweat, but you weren't going to get the ball if you couldn't. You know what I mean? You couldn't deliver. So that's what taking extra shots in the backyard comes. You know what I mean? Lefty righty layups, all that good stuff, drills. But yeah, honestly, it was a good community. Show up every Saturday morning. All week you get ready for it, and just overall great community. Very, very welcoming.
All right, yeah, that's awesome. So, the reason why we're truly interviewing you today is to hear about the legend of the Garrett McKinnon game-winning glasser with on the center court. This wasn't like sometimes we play. There's two courts side to side, but this was the center court. Mm-hmm. I just want to know what was going through your mind. What were your emotions when this happens? Because this is this is a big deal. I don't care what anyone says. If you're in 7th grade and you hit a game-winning shot at rec basketball, that gets talked about throughout the town.
Definitely. So it was just the way it's set up. They had Gates Gym. They had two courts. They had two courts, so they had two games going on at once. Our game was going back and forth. It was a great battle, great two teams going back and forth. Regulation just wasn't enough to figure out a winner.
It's never enough.
It's never enough. Right? No. And so it was a tie, and there was some talk should we end in a tie? Rec doesn't end in ties.
No.
There's winners and losers. No 5th place trophies. And we moved it to the center court, big boys. And the older guys were coming on, 8th graders were coming on, getting ready, so they're watching. Parents showed up for rides, they're watching. And all the kids who were playing in the other game were watching. So I think it was 3 minutes. They put 3 minutes on. It was going back and forth. It's about 10 seconds left. 5 seconds left. Forget who. Someone inbounds the ball. Harrison Mullen. I'm going to give a shout out to Harrison Mullen because this would never have been possible without him. Unbelievable point guard, great vision, great athleticism. Inbounds the ball to Harry. Harry throws up a floater to me. I'm coming down the baseline, 3-point line. I catch it, in the midair, floating. Sit my feet, go back up, drifting. Hits the left, it hits the glass. I don't know how. It hit the glass, and then moved forward and hit the front of the rim, went in, no time left, game winner. Place eroded. It exploded. It was unbelievable. People stormed the court. And that was it for my rec basketball career because I just wanted to go out on top, you know. Like, you can't top that feeling. So, yeah, that was about it.
Awesome, Garrett. Well, that being said, I'd also like to talk to Peter Shimada here, who Garrett McKinnon actually hit this shot in Peter's face. And Peter may be doing this project like with me, but at the same time, you know, he probably has some hard feelings about it. He probably doesn't like talking about it, but we had to get the story because, you know, this is a story that people aren't really going to forget.
Yeah.
And so, Peter, let's hear what you have to say about this.
It felt very degrading from me playing travel basketball and me covering Garrett, who doesn't play basketball. I thought, like, no
terrible.
way.
I was terrible.
Like, I don't have to do anything. He's just not going to do anything. And then Harry gets the ball. I thought Harry was going to shoot it because he plays basketball also. He had a pretty good shot.
You know, you can't say enough about that play by Harrison Mullen. You know what I mean?
He's unselfish.
Unselfish player.
He's a great player all around. Great player.
He'd been playing his whole life. Could have easily taken that half quarter for the win, but you know what? He made the extra pass to someone who wasn't as good, but you know he had faith. So
It was
Trust
very
your teammates.
surprising
Yeah,
that
trust
it
him.
went in.
Yeah,
Very
I was
surprising.
surprised.
Two hands high, good closeout. I was defending him pretty well.
Pete, would you say your defense was encore?
Can't
Yes, I would.
you can't defend a perfect shot. That's all I can say.
Can't.
Yeah, I'm saying. All right, yeah. So I'd like to thank Garrett McKinnon for coming out and
Yeah.
giving us a little rundown. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yep, and you know,
Thank you, sir.
you know, we'll definitely won't forget that moment in rec basketball.
Hello, how's everyone doing today? We're back here. A little interview with Jack Poirier, son of the Citrus High basketball coach Matthew Poirier. And Jack is a 1,000-point scorer. And, you know, Jack's career could have possibly, you know, the reason why he's going off these days is because of Al KAZLOUSKY and Citrus basketball down at Gates. You know, it's a different breed. So first off, Jack, I'd like to ask you, how long have you been attending Al KAZLOUSKY's basketball?
Even like before like 6th grade, because that's like the first like grade you're like officially like registered for it. Like probably since like 3rd grade, I'd always been up there at Gates, shooting around, watching the older boys play.
Oh yeah, of course. So, Jack, as someone who actually like reclassed, or like, you know, I'm older than you, and you were the grade above me, kind of weird, kind of not weird. John's older than him, like, but what was it like playing at rec basketball with kids that were older than you, and then coming back and playing with kids that were a little bit younger than you? Did Al KAZLOUSKY, you know, did he make you feel warm and welcome?
Oh, of course. Al's a good guy, you know. He welcomes everybody there. Like any skill set, like you can be terrible, you can play, but you can be nasty. Like you get treated the same way. It's been fun playing with all the kids, like kids younger than me, older than me. Get to know a lot of people.
Yeah, that you do. So Jack, for the last couple of years, you've been a coach at Al's, and do you think that it helps you as a player when you go there and you have to coach these younger kids and teach them the system that your own father is running at the high school?
Oh no, it's definitely beneficial because, you know, seeing younger kids play and coaching them, you can also see common mistakes throughout the game and you can apply it to your own game. Helps you individually.
Very true.
And helps with like leadership skills, you know, working with younger people, teaching them the game.
Of course, yes. Also, Jack, now, do you have any experiences playing basketball at, you know, Al's big rec games that you just remember? Like it's like stoned into your brain. Like you'll never forget it. Like, you know, you may have had 1,000 points in your high school career, but you remember those 3 points you scored at Al's Saturday basketball.
No, I have a vivid memory. Saturday, you know.
Let's hear it.
So I was 6th grade at the time. You know, I was looking forward to later in the day, 2012, 2013. So Situate boys basketball was gonna play Milton at UMass Boston. So I was pumped for like the day. And so, you know, I show up to rec. You know, I'm feeling pretty good. Got my shots up, and needless to say, I have a pretty good game at rec. Very good game.
Very good.
And then, I get home. Actually, I had some Chef Boyardee.
Oh, shit.
I remember like the meal I had after, and then go and watch Situate boys basketball beat Milton, UMass Boston. It was pretty dope. Great day. All started with Alex KAZLOUSKY's rec basketball.
Wow. There's countless stories that with all the people that have gone to Al's basketball. Now, Jack, what do you think the main thing that Al brings to the table when he's coaching these kids? Like does anything that you learned back in the day at rec you still carry it on with your mind when you're going in to play like a state tournament game against Tech Boston? Like, does something like that happen to you?
Definitely. Like, after every game, Coach KAZLOUSKY brings it in and he gives us a little lesson, like small things. Like everyone wants to be able to dribble, pass, or shoot, but like small things such as like communication or having your hands up. I always tend to think about that before games.
Yeah, of course. Those are the key things in being a successful basketball team, which our team's still working on now. But also, you think that coaching the young kids, being a role model for some of them, honestly, because what kid there doesn't want to be 1,000 point scorer in high school? Truly, helps you as a captain. Like you can lead 12 of these young kids, teach them. Some of them don't even know how to dribble it off their foot when that's the easiest thing to do. Teaching them how to play. Does that benefit you in any way when you're trying to lead people like me and John and Peter and Opie? Like that's some tough people to lead. But you got to do it. So.
I mean, like I said, very beneficial coaching the youngins, but makes it a lot easier. Be teammates with like Tom and Opie, because those guys can play. John, Peter, we got some capable guys, and coaching kids with lesser talent makes it easier when you're around more talent.
You know what? Thank you, Jack, and I appreciate you for answering these questions with us today.
I have a question.
Oh, Peter.
I have a question
You got
for
one
Jack.
coming from the stands?
Yes.
You? Oh, yep, you, sir. All right.
How has Al KAZLOUSKY influenced your career?
Yeah. I mean, you've known him for a while now. So
I've
you
known him for a
obviously-
while.
You've known him longer
You
than
see him-
probably any of us have.
Yeah, really.
He's always at our games. Every home game
He's
is
a legend.
there.
He's a legend.
He's a
He
Situate
really
legend.
Sister legend, absolutely.
Honestly, obviously, like, take basketball seriously, but also he's always known to incorporate some jokes. Usually a little like munchkin, like magic
Munchkin?
trick.
is. Yep. that's
Gotta get him a
good.
munchkin.
Always help me to have some fun while you're playing basketball. When you're doing something serious, have some fun.
Heard it here first, folks. Al KAZLOUSKY brings the fun into basketball.
Yes.
From the Jack Warrior.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, Jack, thank you.
Hey.
And we'll see you on the flip side. See you on the court today. So yeah. Thank you.
Thanks for having me, guys.
All right, how we doing? So I'm here with the man himself, Al KAZLOUSKY.
I like that reference.
Yep,
Very
the-
nice.
The Saturday morning basketball legend. So, Al, what is your background in basketball? Where did you start playing? And where did you learn all your tricks and stuff about basketball? It's something that you bring to a lot of people, and we just want to know where you learned it.
Okay, well, first of all, tricks is not exactly what I would call it. I would call them fundamentals.
Fundamentals. Good.
Fundamentals rather than tricks. I learned my basketball back at Stoughton High School.
Oh.
That's where I played.
Same high school as David Jordan.
Yes.
Ah.
Yeah. David and I were not in school together. So that's where I learned my basketball. Then I went on a little further at Stonehill College and just played 1 year there.
Mm-hmm.
But in high school, I had a coach that was very cognizant and very concerned about tricks. Oh no, I meant fundamentals. That would be fundamentals. So when I moved to Situate, my son was in the 4th or 5th grade, and we decided to do the get involved with the youth center basketball. And at the time, there was a Friday night program in conjunction with the Saturday morning program. So what we did is we kind of combined the two. Eventually, we kind of eliminated the Friday night, and we just worked on Saturdays. And basically, we just try to teach or tricks or fundamentals of basketball. Originally, we had the dads did a lot of coaching, and we found that it worked out much better. One of the coaches at the time, Roger Quam, who since has gone down to Atlanta, said, "I'll bring my team down, and they will help you do the coaching." And it turned out to be a great system.
All right, yeah. Well, speaking of tricks, I think you show us a little trick with this marshmallow that you
Well,
do every Saturday to the children.
Okay, I would like to say that I have many, many tricks, but this, of course, is my favorite. And when you take someone like Tom or Peter, you just take the marshmallow, play a little music.
Oh! Wow, a little sleight of hand right there.
And that is a trick. That is not a fundamental.
Yeah, that is quite the trick. So, what does this mean to you, being able to coach basketball every Saturday and help the youth of Scituate on, having the fundamentals and preparing them to get up to the high school with Coach Porter, who is definitely a tough coach to deal with, But dealing with you is a lot easier, not gonna lie. But you get people prepared for it, so it's good. So, what is the cause for that?
Well, I think basically the program we developed the way it is a program for everybody.
It is.
So we want to have a program that's for the kids that might go on and play basketball. We're going to have a program for the kids who will never play basketball. Some of these guys never play past the 8th grade.
Okay.
But you'd be surprised at the number of kids that come along who weren't basketball players.
Yep. Garrett McKinnon.
We won't mention any names. 6th, 7th, or 8th grade. Garrett McKinnon. No, we won't. But some of the kids who try it, they say, "Gee, we've never played before."
Yeah.
So this program was designed for everybody. So, some of the players that are a little more experienced, like, when you came up yourself, or Peter, when you had played a lot, so, you were more you knew what the fundamentals were, but some of these other kids didn't know what it was. And some of these younger kids actually go on and work hard, and you'd be surprised at the number of kids who end up as sophomores or juniors in high school. They're on the teams, where some of the other kids that were the better players in the 6th, 7th, and 8th grade kind of fall by the wayside. So I was just proud of the program because it kind of encompassed everybody in the town, rather than just the basketball players.
Oh yeah, definitely. Have you ever ran into any struggles when coaching with, some kids that aren't the best of fundamentals? And do you find it fun as a challenge to get kids that are elite basketball players, like the Jack Warriors, to be on the same team with kids that have a tough time catching a pass? Like, is it a fun challenge to get people to bond together like that, just so everyone has a good time?
Definitely. And as I told you guys who come up and coach, and I appreciate any of you guys that come up and coach, the lesser players, if you can get one of these kids who never played basketball to come in and set a screen, or to pick and roll, or to make a basket, whatever it happens to be, that's more challenging and more satisfying to me than taking a kid who is, a real good player. And, we like to stress the fundamentals. Taking a real good player and showing him is satisfying, but to take one of these lesser players and see what he can do is very, very important.
Well, that being said, who do you think over your years has been the top tier basketball player that you've seen come through this program? Well, there's been a lot of good ones, but who do you think the guy is? Like, who's the one?
Well, I'll tell you, to me, the best basketball players aren't necessarily the kid that can score every time, like yourself. The kid that passes very well, like Peter. The kid who I really admire the most is the kid who makes everybody around him better players.
Like Larry Bird.
Like a Larry Bird. Unfortunately, Larry did not play in my program. But we did have a kid, and I will mention his name, Tommy Cudahy, when he played, to me was probably the best player because he made everybody around him better. He would pass to the better players, but he would also pass to the lesser players. And what that did is it gave confidence to the kids who weren't the great players. but it increased, everybody kind of worked with him, and he was, I think, the epitome of a team player, and that's what I admired most. And to me, he was the best. We've had kids that were better scorers, we've had kids that are better rebounders, we've had kids that can dribble better than him, but he was the best all-around player.
Yeah, all-time leading scorer at Citrus High. You can't really beat that.
Yep.
What would you say makes the program? What makes it what it is? What makes you want to show up every Saturday? And what makes people like me and Peter to come? What makes us want to come coach? Like, what do you think that is? Like, what's the incentive for you doing this?
Well, I think basically, number one, even though I'm the guy who makes a quote inspirational speech every Saturday morning that no one seems to listen to anymore and no one seems to get too inspired by, I think the guys that make this program, ourselves, like yourself, like Peter, who first of all have played in the program and then are kind enough to come back up and put themselves through it. And I've told you guys, and I would tell anybody that's helped me up there over the years, the program is made by the high school kids who coach, or Coach Morgan or Coach Murphy that used to be up there with me. Those are the guys that make that program, not me. It's all these people around us that really put it together.
Now, I have a question. So when Coach Poirier shows up for the 8th grade, like big game at the 12 o'clock, do you think that it makes the kids play a little harder and better because they're trying to show off on him? They're going up to him next year, trying to make a little name for themselves.
Sometimes I think it does. Oftentimes I think, I don't know whether it intimidates some kids, it encourages some kids, but I do mention to the kids, and I think you've heard me say that Coach Poirier is giving out some scholarships to Situate High School. Full rides. So I think that kind of pushes the kids along. And I think a lot of them are very impressed. I have to admit that Coach Poirier is the most enthusiastic coach I've ever seen. And I've had a lot of coaches over the years that I've played with and have coached with me. And Coach Poirier is certainly one of the most enthusiastic and most devoted coaches I've seen.
Yeah, no, definitely. So, obviously, we see at every single game, watching us play. What do you think you like better? Do you think you like watching the varsity JV freshman games at the high school on Fridays, just sitting there all throughout the day, or actually being at the Gates gym coaching the kids all day? You like sitting back and relaxing, or you like coaching better? What do you think it is?
Well, it's a combination of the two. I like the coaching part of it because then I follow you guys all the way up, and it's an experience. I just enjoy, whether you're freshman, JV, or varsity, whatever it is. It gives me inspiration to see someone like yourself or Peter, working your way up, playing the way you play, being devoted the way you are, and doing all the tricks, all the fundamentals that we try to show you in youth center.
Right, yeah. So, Al, I'd just like to thank you for coming and doing this project with us.
I have one question.
Oh, Peter,
all right.
Yes. Are you still in contact with some of those little kids that you've coached in the past?
Definitely. And another thing that kind of warms my heart is I'll be down the harbor, and I'll use Heritage Days as a prime example. And unfortunately, time marches on, and kids that I think were in the 7th or 8th grade 2 years ago come pushing a baby carriage by me. And what they'll say is, "Hi, Coach, how you doing?" And that means a lot to me.
Yeah.
And the fact that kids talk about one of the most the best times they've had playing basketball was at, all the way up into the varsity level, but kids that didn't go on say, "Gee, we remember youth center," and that means a lot to me also.
Yeah, I definitely remember some times playing basketball.
Absolutely.
Because it's a lot different. It changes your perspective on the game because you go from playing with kids to playing against them, and sometimes that's gonna be the best competition you have. And
That's right.
that's something that it brings to the table. So, just thank you. You just gotta hopefully keep it up for a lot more years.
I hope I can, and I appreciate doing something like this. And again, I appreciate you guys, and it's just, it's inspirational to see you guys kind of move up the ladder. Because I remember you when you were 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, and that's where you still are.
Yeah, it's awesome. Well, thank you, Al. A Situate legend, folks. Thank you.
Thank you.